Had I gotten in that fight, I would have put up the best fight, but I probably wouldn't have survived. I have suffered from bigorexia. I started out 130 pounds soaking wet. The ability to capture a moment that'll never be again, whether it's mundane or spectacular, always baffled me. I see a therapist at least once a month, and I'm in a fairly healthy state. I don't feel that you need therapy solely when you're in a bad place.
Yo guys, welcome back to the PBNP podcast. Today it's a slightly different setup. There's no Waddle with me today, but we have had an upgrade. He's YouTuber, nurse, and behaviour change specialist, Lane Fitness.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you, seriously.
So it's been a long time coming this, because we've been talking in the DMs for quite a long time about this. And yeah, it's something I'd like your audience to get a side to you maybe they don't know about. So we'll just dive straight in, Matt. In terms of your upbringing, obviously you're quite a positive guy. Have you always been like that? Positive, always looking forward?
No, absolutely not. I was very fortunate in my upbringing. When I was around 15, 14, somewhere around there, my parents had a divorce, which, not to downplay it, but I'm not the first person to go through a divorce. And that's when I really started looking at myself, and what did I want my life to be? And it wasn't until I was 27 that I found what that was. It wasn't until I was 27 that I started Lane Fitness, and something that I know is more than myself. It is self-titled and it is my name, but it's something so beyond me. And my upbringing, I totally believe that everything in my upbringing led me to this. But no, I actually come from a family that is quite pessimistic, and I didn't want that to be my life. No.
It's crazy. I mean, even like looking at you through your videos, you'd think you've been like this forever because you are very optimistic. And in terms of your friendship with Holden, I've seen you've helped him lose weight and stuff like that, and you've helped him shift his mindset. Would you say like your upbringing and maybe your shift in mindset has made you want to help other people and people close to you?
Yeah. My start in fitness wellness really was quite unique, I think. I think everyone's story is very unique, but mine was very multifaceted that led to what it is now and how it is ever evolving. But my personal fitness journey started when I was jumped in a parking lot. No hands were thrown, but we squared up and we were about to go. And, long story short, I realized I couldn't, had I gotten in that fight, I would have put up the best fight, but I probably wouldn't have survived. I literally would have been killed, and there was more than one person. And I started looking at myself, and I was like, how aware are you really? And I got in the gym the next day, and for 8 months straight, I went with a friend, and I saw my body change. Eventually, my mind changed, and I had much more belief in myself. That was sort of the start, and it's evolved into so many different things. I got into healthcare and saw that 80% of the people that I saw in the ICU setting as an ICU nurse, it was all self-induced problems. Now, respect to anybody that, it was not their doing, but medicine, unfortunately, is something that is very reactive, and fitness wellness is extremely proactive. And I realized quickly that as a personal trainer, I could do so much more than I could as a nurse. And I've seen that, I've felt that. So yes, there's definitely a purpose for me. Absolutely.
In terms of when you first step foot in the gym, a lot of people who watch my videos, I get a lot of messages, and they're very cautious about starting the gym because they're worried about people looking at them, lifting weights, the form. Do you want to talk a little bit about, if you can remember it, maybe the first few months you started the gym? Did you have that same anxiety?
I can't say that I had the same exact anxiety. I have suffered from bigorexia. I started out 130 pounds soaking wet, and in 8 months to a year, I gained about 30, 35 pounds intentionally. But I was so in it for myself, honestly. I have always had this part about me that I don't really give a damn what other people think. Now, I believe that certain people can say that, but it goes to an extent. I think that we all, no matter who you are, you care a little bit about what other people think. Yeah. But a majority of me damn sure doesn't. So I had that luxury of not having the gym intimidation. Now, I absolutely have done the comparison game. you know, walked in 130 pounds looking at guys that have been training for 10, 15 years and comparing myself, which is completely unfair and not good for your mindset. I say that again with respect, because someone coming in that is extremely self-conscious, I understand that it can be a battleground for your brain. However, I promise you that you care much, much more about what they think than they even they probably don't even see you. At least the people that are serious and that are there, the people that matter, they're going to encourage you.
I totally agree. I mean, in terms of my story, I started the gym through a verbally abusive relationship.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
so I was with her from 13 years old to 18 years old, and anyone knows at that age you're still developing as a person, as a young man in terms. So, yeah, from 15 to about 17, I gained a lot of weight. I was upwards of 190.
Okay.
And I wasn't happy. I'm 6'1". I don't know what that is in centimeters.
Yeah.
So it didn't look as bad because I was quite tall.
Sure.
But I still wasn't happy with my life. So obviously I didn't know nothing about fitness. I went into the gym, and like you said, I did have that gym anxiety.
Yep.
I knew nothing about lifting weights. I didn't know how important form was. I thought people were staring at me. Yeah. Obviously, fast forward to 4 years later, no one cares in the gym what you're doing because everyone's focused on the set on themselves. Yep. If I could give advice, it'd just be the more you train, the more confidence you'll get in yourself.
Yep.
And you're never going to be perfect because no one sees it as that. But your mentality shifts, and gyms help with discipline.
Yep.
And what's your discipline been like in terms of since starting the gym until present day? Would you say in terms of nutrition, routine, would you say that's completely improved in terms of previously?
Yeah. Oh, my Lord, without a doubt. I didn't focus on nutrition until probably 4 years in, and I've been training as of now for 11 years. You know, it was true bro science. It was, you know, and I have a background in bodybuilding. That's where I started. And I think that's where my heart ultimately lies. However, I picked up powerlifting about a year ago, and I started implementing a lot of the things from powerlifting, the intelligence portion, pretty much of both. But yeah, without a doubt, I did the whole train one body part once a week and beat it to death. And I did not understand consistency over intensity. I lacked a lot of the fundamentals to start. Of course, I had bro science, and that was it to go off of. I read, you know, I did start to really educate myself with, you know, Arnold's Encyclopedia and all of the things that, you know, come with bodybuilding. But nowadays, I'm 31, looking back to a 19-year-old, my goals are absolutely different. But I'm very happy with that. I call it fitness maturity, and I've developed that. Fitness maturity in my eyes is simply knowing the first time you walk through the door of that gym intimidation as compared to 11 years later knowing nobody gives a damn. That's just fitness maturity. But yes, the nutrition, if somebody comes to me and says, how do I lose weight? I don't speak one thing on training. It's 100% nutrition. What are you eating? A lot of people don't know what a portion size is, and the nutrition is so much of it. It's so much of it.
I mean, in terms of like comparing yourself to other people, I saw a quote the other day of "Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20."
Yes,
and it's so like it's so true, because why would you compare your starts to someone's maybe 15 years journey?
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous. I mean, but yeah, in terms of your YouTube channel, sorry about the shift in topic.
No, it's all good.
What made you start it? Because I saw some on your YouTube post story thing the other day.
Yeah.
Some of your followers found one of your old accounts or something, and they were looking at your old videos. So how far back does it go in terms of you in front of the camera?
Since I was about 9, actually. I have a luxury of that. I had the old school VHS on my shoulder, which you're probably a little too young to even know. That was a thing back in the day. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know if you were around at that point or not, but that's how I started out. And the ability to capture a moment that'll never be again, whether it's mundane or spectacular, always baffled me. Like I was always drawn to that. But since I was about 9 all the way up until when I turned 27, and when I was like, I'm going to do something, I'm going to start a business, that's when YouTube and content and the podcast, and that's when everything really started being taken seriously. Probably started editing around 14 years old, 15 years old, and so I have had that luxury, but I've never gone to school or anything like that. I've just stumbled my way through it.
So in terms of like starting your business at 27, pardon me if it's a bit intrusive.
No,
but you do regret starting your business at 27. Do you wish you could start earlier, or are you happy the way you did it? And
I'm very happy the way I did it, to be honest with you. I knew no other way to do it. At 21, I wasn't ready. I didn't have the words to speak. You know, I'm 11 years into my fitness journey, and I damn sure I'm not a master of this. I'm still learning it. But, you know, I know that I have things to offer. I know that I have value to give. And the big shift for me was the mental fitness. I saw so many people that were doing bodybuilding, powerlifting, get shredded, get lean, lose fat, keto this, keto that. No shade to any of that, but I wanted to do something different, and I focused on what it was that changed everything for me, and it all boiled back to my mentality. And even outside of fitness, I found that any success I ever had was always born out of behavior change. So mental fitness became the precipice for me.
so was the behavior change born from you starting the gym and wanting to study more into it?
Yeah. You know, when I was 19 and I saw my body change first, that's when I really had this like belief. I was like, oh my God, like I have ability. It built confidence. It showed me that I had more power than I realized. I was working on an art degree at the time, and I never looked at myself as an intelligent person, ADHD, and very creative, but school was never something that I thought I would do well or accomplish. And I am not the type of person that holds school over everything. At that point in my life, it was a different part of my life, and school was more of a benchmark of myself, to be honest. But, you know, becoming a nurse, the ability to go to school and study and all of the stuff that is probably very basic for a lot of people, for me, it was a big challenge. And to get through that, there was a lot of behavior change that I had, a lot of mental fitness that I developed. But yeah, ultimately fitness from 19 all the way up until now it's dictated every bit of success in my life.
That's crazy. I mean, I can relate because I have ADD, which is attentive deficit. So if you can see here, I have to have this here because I quite move a lot, I fidget a lot, and I can't stand still. So that's quite see, I can understand because in school I didn't go to the gym. I struggled to study. I'm not a pen to paper theory type of guy. I love practical things. Yeah. So leaving school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went to college, studied film and media, and that's where I found Holden because he does a lot of film things, and I relate to that. And then I saw you, and obviously the fitness aspect. Sure. That's when I got into the in touch with you. Yeah. Now I'm in university doing digital marketing. Yeah. It's kind of hard for me because obviously I find it hard to sit at a computer screen and type all day. Sure. But I'm getting there. I'm trying to improve things. My attention span. I mean, I've started taking up mental therapy sort of thing. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Try and get just keep productive and stuff like that. Absolutely. Is there any things you do to keep yourself going mentally? Yeah, I see a therapist at least once a month. You know, and I'm in a fairly healthy state. I don't feel that you need therapy solely when you're in a bad place. You know, I look at therapy as a fantastic thing and a way to, I mean, people go to therapy to level their life up, to dig themselves out of a hole. So why would you not still do the same if you're in a good spot, you know, if you're trying to work on something? But it's funny that you mentioned that. Balance has been probably the biggest part for me that I've been learning in 2020 because I have had quite a bit of growth in my business and in the YouTube and everything. So balance has been tough, and it's made me revert back to the things that, you know, really point blank boil down to your own health, you know, trying to run a business while working a full-time job and being a husband and all of those things, whatever. You know, when you are a driven person like yourself, I know you relate to this, and I would imagine most of your audience is driven people working on things, that turning it off is difficult. So for me, what has always been key is having a calendar, having it written down, knowing that I have to make time blocks. I have to put it in my calendar. Like I was, you know, with my wife, every Monday night, we go out to dinner or we
just go somewhere and sit down and have that present, very mindful, intentional time. I'm actually on a kick here recently where I'm now meditating just for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, because I haven't been able to sleep because I can't turn my brain off. And, you know, the training and just what I've really done is I've set up things that just fall into my schedule, my routine, a part of my life. That way it's not such a burden of being like, I have to do this today. You know, it just fits into what I'm supposed to do.
I mean, that's cool. I wrote a letter to myself for a year's time.
Yeah.
So I've wrote things down. So once it's on paper, you feel like you have to do it now. It's there.
Yeah.
And I've started writing down what I'm grateful for. So
yep.
Life can get busy.
Yep.
And you can sort of take things for granted.
Yep. Yep.
So you need to remind yourself now and again. And yeah.
I've been journaling for probably since I was 14. It was around the time of my parents' divorce and whatnot. That was like my biggest way of coping. And I used to judge the hell out of myself when I didn't journal every single morning. You know, if I missed a day, I was like, ah, crap, like I screwed it up. But, you know, like there's an analogy that I heard, like, just because you don't do it every single day doesn't mean that it's a waste. You know, if somebody handed you $1,000 and somebody stole 200, what are you going to do? Throw the 800 away? Or, I mean, you still have 800. Like, I don't know. It's just, but yes, journaling, man, and gratitude was a big shift in my life when I really started focusing on that. And, you know, like you said, writing it down makes it so tangible and in front of you rather than just in your brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I found it so hard because you're so driven. You want to go a bit that one direction.
Yep.
There's people with you on all your journey. You tend to neglect them because you're so focused on
Absolutely.
that one.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just been kind of these past 2 or 3 months with the COVID and the lockdown in here.
Yep.
It's been quite tough, but obviously I've tried to be strong mentally, and I guess you have too. And it's just setting yourself a routine where you're not allowing yourself to get into that state.
It's true. It's true. And it sounds so, you know, however you want to put it, it sounds hippie-ish, or it sounds idealistic, or it sounds, you know, like some fitness douchebag would say, like, oh, you need to be grateful every day, and I need to journal with my chai tea at 3 a.m. because that's what successful people do. Like, it truly is like what works for you. And, you know, I'm not perfect every day. Perfect sucks. And if I don't journal, you know, this morning, I'm going to journal tomorrow, you know, like catch up on it. And I think there's so much judgment that can come within that of, I think there's a lot of judgment that's gone around with COVID and everybody being like, well, damn it, I gained 5 pounds, so screw it. Like, I'm just going to, you know, throw it to the wayside. But you're 100% right. Like COVID has been something that no one planned for. No one could plan for, you know, since like the Spanish flu, there hasn't been anything this bad. Somebody in the comments roast me because there's probably something that's happened, but nothing to this scale, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say maybe people could put a spin on it and say it could be one of the best things that happened to some people.
1,000%.
It's forced them to do things they've always wanted to do.
Yeah. No, I feel like if you haven't lost a loved one or a friend.
Yes, obviously.
If that hasn't happened and you're alive, I mean, what is there to bitch about?
Exactly. Something to be grateful for.
You know, and I know that there's somebody that just heard that got pissed off at that because they're like, you don't know my situation, you don't know my circumstances, and you're damn right, I don't. But it's all in it's all in your perspective of it. It's all in how you handle it. Is it glass half full? Is it glass half empty? It's up to you the way you look at it.
In terms of COVID, Matt, how's the effect it's had on your personal business, on your YouTube channel? Have you had growth? Have you experienced any issues going on this journey?
So being a nurse, I've worked around COVID for pretty much the entire time. I worked at a COVID respiratory clinic. It was sort of like a drive up, test you, do you have it kind of thing. I worked there for a little bit, so I was very, very involved with it. And then now in my current job as a nurse, I'm still around it, but not directly in it. Having said that, my business, this is the most growth I've had to date. Yes. And, you know, looking at it, it makes total sense. More people are inside, more people are consuming content, more people are needing fitness, wanting that outlet, and it's been exponential growth. Yeah.
That's great. I thought that's great. I mean, in terms of my perspective, I started a business in COVID, something I've been sitting on for about 2 years since I was 19. And it's just, like we said previously, unless you haven't lost anyone, it's going to force you to do things you've wanted to do. And if you've already got things going for you, it's going to make you work on it even harder. And then that's going to improve. skyrocket.
Absolutely.
And in terms of like your YouTube channel personally, how do you feel? I know we said it's increased the watch time and stuff like that, but has it increased your productivity and want to release more videos? And
you know what it's done is it's forced me to be extremely, even more thoughtful. You know, I mean, I refuse to put anything out that doesn't benefit the audience. What the hell am I doing if I do anything different? But honestly, balance has been the biggest thing. I have collaborated a lot with friends, and I have ventured into areas that I never would have. And, yes, of course, there's always more that needs to be done with any business, whether it's content or whatever. There's always more that needs to be done. Again, I think for me, the balance of knowing you have to maintain quality over quantity. And then at the same time, I've found like you can use that as an excuse. You can be like, it needs to be it's got to be quality, man. It's got to be quality. It's got to be perfect. And you won't put it out. You know, I think there's such a give and take. So that balance.
I'd be interested to know, I've experienced this. When it's your own project, so your business, your YouTube video, have you struggled to delegate for help? Because I struggle to do that because it's my personal baby. Say if I need an editor or someone to help me on the finance side of things in my business, something I don't know anything as much about. I'm not as more skilled in as someone else.
Sure.
I can be stubborn sometimes to think, no, I want it to be perfect in a certain way. Like we said, perfection's not a thing.
Yeah.
But you can be so protective over your personal, like your projects. Have you ever struggled to ask for help or delegate or to do tasks?
When I finally had the ability, and ultimately what that means is the capital, the money to do so. Shout out to my editor, Jean, who's been with me for 8 months, and he has absolutely changed the way I'm able to run my business. We went from 1 video a week to then 2 videos a week, and then I was talking to him today about marketing material for a program or for a challenge that I'm running that I have coming up, and it's a product for the business. So honestly, it was the ability. Like once I've had the ability, because here's the thing: if you hire help, if you delegate, you're gonna have to give direction. You know, whoever you hand the reins off to, they want that direction. And, if it doesn't work, he'll send me an edit back. I'm like, you know what, change this. Or I send guidelines. And then the more you work together, the more, he knows certain things now because we've worked together for so long. Now I get what you're saying. Like, it's your baby. Honestly, I feel like I'm going to be able to review the final product. I'm going to be able to, it's not like I'm sending it to that person and then it's just immediately getting posted or the shirt's going out or whatever. So not really a fear, but honestly, the biggest thing that I wonder, I'm like, am I doing everything I need to do as I guess you can say a boss? I don't feel like it. It feels more like a team. It really feels like, he and I both are working on something. But am I doing all the things I should be doing to support him to do his job?
Okay.
I
understand that. Does
that make sense?
I mean, I only ask because it's something I've struggled with in terms of asking for help, delegating tasks, because I'm very hands-on.
Sure.
I get really anxious if someone else is doing something for the business that I don't know about. I'm like, is it going to be right? Is it okay?
Sure.
Because we spoke in the DMs yesterday, and I'm like, I know we've said perfection's a thing, but I like things to be perfect in terms of things, and that is a big weakness of mine. It can lead to me reminding myself what I'm grateful for because I'm neglecting other things.
Sure.
So that's one thing I'm trying to work on. So I just thought I'd get your perspective on it. It's yeah.
And when you become shorter on time, when speed is what you're shooting for, you will learn to let the perfectionism go. And you're earlier in the process than I am. And I'm not too deep in the process. I've had my business since I was 27. I'm 31 now, and that's just that's business maturity. So that will come with time.
Okay. If I said the word influencer, Matt, what does that mean to you?
Initially, it's a dirty word. It feels that way for me. But I do think that the origination of the word is a good thing. I think it matters. I think it matters who that influencer is, but it's someone that can bring a direction.
Do you think the word's overused?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I follow a lot of people who call themselves influencers in choice. I follow them just to track what they're doing and what not to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people on the internet who call themselves influencers, but they don't influence anyone. They try and reassure themselves, if you get my gist.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask, because a lot of people don't like that word. I think the real people don't like that word because it's an overused word for people who, I'd say, are in the business with the wrong intentions.
Yeah.
If I'm not stereotyping here, I'm just saying. So I think it is a very dirty word, and like you said, the origins of it. That's my stutter coming through. Is good, but influencer, I hate the word completely. And I think any true person on the internet you ask about that will feel a bit of a taboo talking about it, because it is quite of it's like talking about money. You don't like talking about it, but you can be classified under that bracket.
I think that when you start throwing labels out and then you start gaining your self-worth from that, I just can't do it. I don't call myself an entrepreneur. I've had a few people call me that, and I really don't look at myself as an entrepreneur. I'm just some dude that started doing a certain amount of things that look like, I guess, an entrepreneur would. Technically I am a business owner, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing in the grand scheme of things. All I know how to do is one step in front of the other. So I think that it's really, you're right, it's the intention behind that label.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what's your opinions on the fitness industry as a whole? I mean, in terms of online, maybe YouTube, if you want to sector it down to that. If you don't, I don't know if you watch a lot of YouTube fitness, or what's your opinions on it? It's
funny you mentioned that, because I consume so much less now that I'm really working on what I'm trying to work on. You know, this bigger thing that I'm drawn to, that I'm a part of, I feel. But I think there's a lot of good in the fitness community. Of course there's bad. You know, of course you hear about, fake natties and, people that are taking perfect Instagram photos. We know that. But, it's the same thing. Is it glass half full? Is it glass half empty? And I think it's easy to reach for the bad. The bad is so much sexier to look at than the good, but there's so much good. Every industry has bad parts and good parts. And there's so much good. I believe that the fitness wellness community is and can be something that would overpower even healthcare. Like, I mean, I know that sounds grand, but the amount of proactivity, the science and everything behind it, I think there's so much good that can come from it.
I totally agree. And in terms of the bad aspect, I do agree there is bad in every industry. My experience with the YouTube fitness industry is there is a lot of good, but I started the t-shirt you're wearing, the t-shirt I'm wearing, to try and push out that bad. And because there is a lot, I don't like fitness influencers taking advantage of younger fans.
Sure.
And I see a lot of advertisements on TikTok, I see it on YouTube and Instagram, and the creators, they promote false information. And it's so frustrating. As a creator on a smaller platform to someone who's got millions of followers, it's so frustrating to hear them say these things to their own followers who are paying for services of theirs. They are funding their career. And it's just a cop-out in terms of giving them actually accurate information, which will help them going forward.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's, starting this to sort of push that out. Honestly, if you wear blinders and just work on you, the right people will come to you. Of course, you got to work your butt off. You have to do those smart things. But if you put out good's going to come back, and the spiderweb effect that has, you have no idea how far it'll reach. One post may hit somebody in a way that you didn't expect. And what you think is crap content may be fantastic to somebody else. Maybe it rings true with them. And I found that just like the gym intimidation thing, where you really put blinders on and you stop worrying about what other people think. And when you don't worry about what that person's lifting, and you don't worry about what content that person's producing, it gives you more time. It gives you more mental bandwidth to keep improving your shit and to keep getting better.
I mean, in terms of a post you maybe didn't like, or a video you think was a bit under quality and it's hit someone else in a way you didn't think it would, have you got a story where you've got a message or a video back from someone or one of your followers?
I've been fortunate that, yeah, I receive emails pretty often and DMs pretty often. I put a video out not long ago that I did not expect some backlash to. I got in a car wreck. I say that. My vehicle was hit in a parking lot. I came back to it, and long story short, it could have been much worse. The person stayed. They didn't hit and run, and now I'm dealing with the insurance and all that, but everybody was safe. Nobody was hurt. It was all good, right? I did a video explaining the story and how it could have been worse and how, it's truly how you react to it that really dictates how it will go. And I got quite a bit of response back from people that didn't agree and very much were like, you're idealistic and you have this and that. And, it felt like it came from a negative place from these people. And if you go into my comments, you'll see I engage with people that attack me. I engage with people that have negative to give back in a fashion of truly trying to engage the conversation, not to throw shade or anything like that. And yeah, I did not see that coming. A majority of people, overwhelming, I agree with this. Yep, same here. But it was surprising. It was surprising to see so much backlash. So, on topic of the backlash and maybe trolls sort of thing, I'm smaller scale. I've had one or two comments that maybe you think there was no need for in terms of negativity, and it does get to your head. If you have like 4 or 5 positive and then 1 negative, you do concentrate on that. In terms of your scale of your following, is it something you experience? It's something sometimes you maybe have to stop a minute and have a breather or a think and then go back to it? Is it something that gets to you, or do you just learn to brush it off? A vanity metric that I'll share to give perspective is, I'm around 14,000 on YouTube. That's my biggest platform right now. I say that to say, when you have next to 14,000 different opinions and ability to say something, I don't know, even before I had a larger platform of around 200 or something, I always engage those conversations because I want to know where it's coming from. Now, if somebody's just carpet bombing insults and like, you're ugly and all that, you're not going to get anywhere with that. But so far, it has not penetrated me. The video that launched my friend's YouTube channel to really get it rolling, and then that series to really get it rolling was the Star Wars video, where I watched Star Wars for the first time, all 8 episodes. I couldn't stand it, and I had literal death threats in those comments, and I responded to them. I was like, "Tell me why. Share with me. Why do you want me to die?" I wanted to know. So I'm still early in the process, but it doesn't penetrate me because I know whoever has the time, whoever has the mental bandwidth to throw any venom towards me in a comment section on a YouTube video, it has nothing to do with me, and I legit have empathy for whatever that person's feeling to throw shade. It sucks. It really sucks for them. I
mean, you go live, is it every Saturday? Most Saturdays?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday.
Do meal preps, and I was saying to my girlfriend the other day, because I commented on one of your videos, and I was saying it's crazy how consistent you are, but you must get a little bit of negativity, and I was just I was just wondering if it did get to you, because we were talking, me and a friend, and I was like, that's something maybe going forward I'd have to prepare for.
Sure.
And I think I've got the mental strength to deal with it. But you never know. It's one of them things that when it happens, and you just deal with it in your own way.
Yeah, and I think that, again, I've been fortunate that, my upbringing and whatnot, I really didn't get out much, So, it's not that I was a recluse, but my parents were older when they had me, and a lot of my experiences growing up, I had never watched Star Wars, I had never seen the MCU, so I really wasn't out, which really created this ability for me to not really give a damn what everybody thought. I wasn't involved with what everybody was involved in, but honestly, when I get those comments, I'm not saying I'm impenetrable. I'm not saying that I don't care at all, but what comes to my head is I want to know why. If I can tell it's just on them, it's who they are, it's where they're at, or is it maybe I did something in my content that maybe I should have, maybe it's perspective that I missed of like, damn, you know what? I didn't look at it that way. Maybe I lacked that perspective. Having said that, I think that you can start to prepare for that now with adopting that mentality of like, what really happens when they throw shade in the comments or send you an email or whatever. What truly happens? They send you that comment, you read it, then what? Like, I mean, you hit delete or you respond, and that's it. Like, it's not like shots are literally being fired through your window. It's just they are words for you to draw good from or to draw bad from.
You can turn a positive out of a negative. So something, it's just words on a computer screen, really, isn't it?
It is. It's how you respond.
I see it this way: people who hate never punch down; they always punch.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, and you know what? You know what's so interesting? I don't do this to be like a knight in shining armor, but I know that when I respond in the comments to people throwing shade, I know other people are going to read it. I know other people from the YouTube channel are going to see that. And it's more important for me to not respond negatively or to throw venom or whatever, because that's so much more of like a learning point or something you don't see in YouTube comments of somebody responding back to backlash with empathy of trying to understand. Because like when someone throws shade and you throw it back, nothing's going to be resolved. You're only just going to keep butting heads harder. So why not go at the other angle? I've had people like insulting me. I engage the conversation, refuse to get upset, and then they end up subscribing to me. And I sent one guy a t-shirt. I was like, I appreciate you engaging the conversation. And you know, like when people read that, that's how you're truly being an influencer. You're influencing good shit when you do that, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, in terms of your YouTube journey, how much has Holden had an effect on that?
It's been huge. It's been monumental. He and I, we've had such a synergistic growth, and he's had much more growth than I have when it comes to a vanity metric. But, you know, I've had a handful of people be like, you know, he wouldn't be where he's at without you. Well, I damn sure wouldn't be where I'm at without him. It was such a unique experience, and I just wanted to be involved with him. And, you know, he had a series that took off, but it was 100% my doing of being involved. You know, like, no, the series would not be what it is. That video would not have been what it is had I not said yes to it. But had he not edited it the way he did, had he not put it together the way he did, it wouldn't have worked. So I'm not just fantastic all on my own. I'm pretty damn good, but without him, you know, it's been, he and I both have mutually benefited from one another, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, in your videos, you have talked about this before, like you and Holden do benefit each other. You do things for each other that will sustain long-term growth personally and in your own lives. So in terms of Jenna, I know if anyone doesn't know, Jenna's your wife. How good has she been in terms of maybe helping you through mentally?
My gosh, man, she has, oh my gosh, I could talk about her for hours and how much she has handled and benefited, and a level of patience that I can't comprehend. She's been so pivotal in she started the podcast with me. She's a co-host for, and the amount of times that she's slapped me with loving words that needed to be said, that have shook me out of my funk or whatever the hell it is, it's been the reason that I can say I'd continued in the fashion that I have. She's been monumental for it.
That's great, man. And that's honestly nice to hear, because I've got a girlfriend, and obviously when you do get a bit more confidence, sometimes you can get your little bit of feet off the ground. It's good to keep grounded, and she's always there for support, and you run ideas off them, and honestly, that's what you need. If you are starting a channel or a business and you get overwhelmed or stressed, or maybe too confident, and you need someone there to keep you grounded. And I think that's so important. I think people do maybe give up sometimes in terms of maybe loneliness, or maybe overwhelming the brain, because that can happen. That can happen.
You know, when you start out in fitness or in YouTube or creating content, a business, when you don't see the growth that you want, when you don't see the results that you want, it's very easy to tap. There's nobody forcing you to do it. All the deadlines that you and I have, all the ideas that we have, it's all self-imposed deadlines. It's all self-imposed things. And yeah, having someone that keeps you grounded it's unmatched. It's unmatched for sure.
I mean, like, in terms of relationships, it's so important to surround yourself with people who are positive. Going back to beginning my story from the beginning, I did surround myself with people who wasn't like-minded, who wanted just to stay in bed till noon, who wanted to just do nothing with their lives. They probably are still doing nothing with their lives. But you've got to wake up one day and think, do you really want to be like that? And that me progressing, me self-improving just came from taking that risk and taking that big step of leaving the people you call your friends.
Sure.
And maybe some romantic relationships. And you need to think of the bigger picture, if you get my understanding.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I believe you have to leave even family members behind that aren't good for you. It's, you know, call it selfish, call it whatever the hell you want. But if someone is dragging you down, if someone is not giving you good, if someone is not giving you value, and value can mean so many different things. Value can mean love. Value can mean financial investment. Value could mean friendship. Value could mean reprieve. I mean, value can be whatever it is to you. But if they're not bringing that value, and also mutually beneficial. If you aren't giving them that, then that relationship shouldn't be there. And I know it's easier said than done, but why? Why would you take that time? Why would you waste that mental bandwidth for somebody that doesn't care about you, that doesn't benefit you?
I totally agree. And maybe taking a swift topic change. Powerlifting. So you took was it about a year you did it for? Or is it
about a year?
What made you start it, and obviously what made you quit?
So it was about 10 years of bodybuilding. You know, 10 years of bodybuilding, and really all the way up until I started my business, it was nothing but bodybuilding. It was working on getting bigger and then, you know, shredding down. And I did one competition and couldn't stand it. Not the process, but the idea of comparing myself to somebody else on a stage. It just wasn't for me. And I got in a rut with bodybuilding where I needed something different. I needed a new mental stimulus, and powerlifting was definitely that. Powerlifting was a way to push myself. And after a year of it, I was knocking on the door to my first competition, but I was not affording the time for the recovery. And I do not blame powerlifting. I blame, well, I don't blame myself. I knew that I couldn't afford the time. When I started getting hurt, had like an infraspinatus, tendinosis. I mean, I had a herniated disc, and I just wasn't doing the things that I needed to recover. But, you know, I told my trainer, who's a friend of mine, I said, after a year, and I hated it so much for him because I know what it's like to be a personal trainer and somebody tap out. But I told him, I was like, dude, you know my life, you know I'm running my business, you know I'm doing these things, and powerlifting was not more important than my business, or powerlifting was not more important than my relationship. And you know, it's not just lift weights. It's the recovery process. Are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough? Are you all of the things? And I was not willing any longer to put the mental bandwidth and time into it. So that's why I stopped. Not to say that I'll never go back to it again, though.
So it's like an open door, maybe one day.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there's so much that I learned. There's so much that I'll hold on to and implement into my lifting from now on. But when you get closer and closer to a competition, the intensity obviously goes up, and things are more strategic, and things are like, we got to hit these numbers. And when you start getting so focused on that, and then you're also running a business and doing all these things, which one is more important? And do you have the time to balance it? Do you want to afford the time to balance it? And I did not want to afford the time to balance it, knowing it was affecting my relationships, affecting the business, affecting everything else.
So did you say you competed in a bodybuilding show before?
So that's funny you say that. So I was 2 hours from stage time, and I went to Las Vegas for my first show. It was actually at the Olympia. I was not in the Olympia. It was like this male model search type thing. But it was going to be the first time I was ever on stage, and the cut was fine. I was okay with that. I'd been through that. I enjoyed that. It wasn't the struggle of getting through that really difficult and unhealthy thing. I hated the concept of comparing myself to somebody else on a stage. It made no sense to me. It wasn't shade of anybody else there or shit, they're going to beat me, but I just don't give a damn about what somebody else is doing. It just did not make sense for my brain, and I found it very toxic for my brain. And I was really questioning like way far into it, started questioning, why am I doing this? And 2 hours from stage time, I was miserable. I hated it. It was toxic for me. And I was like, why am I doing this? You know, why? I don't get it. And I was like, that's it. No, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it.
So in terms of like, I've bulked and cut before in terms of changing your body to gain muscle, lose fat for anyone who doesn't know what them terms mean. What's the mental process for you personally like in terms of when it comes to nutrition, or maybe the first time you did it, bulking and cutting? What?
First time I did it was terrible. You know, I didn't know. I just cut calories like crazy, and that was it. You know, 1,500, 1,600 calories, and that was way too low. And it was miserable. You know, my skin broke out. I know I was lacking micronutrients and all that, but I do a photo shoot every single year for myself. And that's my competition. You know, can I beat the previous year, or do I have the balls to document if I screwed up this year or whatever? And that's my competition. And the first year I did it, which was in 2000, I was 26. So just a year before, I think maybe a year before I started my business, or maybe it was the actual
5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, but I went about it in a very unhealthy way, and it was like, if I just get lean, that's all that matters. And it's so much different now as like, am I enjoying the process? You know, and I think like there's definitely a fine line that you have to ride of like, this is just hard ass work. So I'm not saying that it needs to be, you know, rainbows and clouds the whole time. This shit, it's hard work. So that doesn't go away. But, you know, is this a miserable process for the correct reasons?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, for me personally, gyms have been closed here for about 3 months. So they've just literally opened this week. So I've lost a little bit of size in terms of my body. So I've got home gym stuff, but it's not the same. So I'm dealing with that. I'm in a slight calorie surplus to try and retain as much as I can. But my first time cutting, I was on 1,300 calories a day.
Jesus, and you're taller than I am. Good Lord.
And I lost a lot of muscle tissue because you need to want the muscle to stay. You need to shock them, lift heavy, and I was going lighter each time, so I was losing strength. And that's just a mistake I made starting the gym. I was doing tons of cardio.
It just wasn't
for me. I was really thin. I got really thin.
And doesn't it suck so much? Like you get all the way to that point, and you're like, man, I'm lean, but then you start to look at your shoulders and shit, and you're like, oh God, yeah, I'm lean, but I lost a lot of muscle. Which, I mean, you can only control so much of that. But you know, when you start going that low in calories, that hard, that fast, you're gonna drop muscle, whether you want to or not.
Well, it also affects your libido, sort of thing. So,
oh my gosh, yeah, hormones will go crazy, man. Absolutely.
It's if any advice we could give to anyone starting the gym, it's don't overcomplicate it, because I think people want to go in there, they want abs, they want to be the biggest guy in the room, and it just isn't. Just train for you. Just do it. Play it simple. So, know your body. That's all I'd say.
Know your body that's a perfect way to put that. And I know that there's 3 concepts to fitness wellness when it comes to the whole process. And for me, it's in this order. It is mental fitness, how you approach it. You know, it's the gym intimidation, all those pieces. It's mental fitness, it's nutrition, and then it's the physicality portion. You know, hold on to those 3 pieces. Hold on and know, like, perspective is huge with mental fitness. Like you said, you're chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. That's huge. You know, you can have the perfect nutrition, you can have the perfect training, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're screwed. You know, you can have the perfect training, but if your nutrition sucks, you're screwed. You know, it's those 3 basic concepts in a world that is littered with making it complicated. Keep it stupid simple. You're exactly right.
Do you believe the complication is what causes people fear to start working out?
Yeah.
Because people think I've got to do so many things to get into shape, and it's literally not that much to do. People
will latch on so quickly to probiotics and friggin', you know, vitamin C and all of this, but they don't know what a serving size is. And I say that with no shade, but anytime I'm asked the question of like, how do you, you know, should I do keto? How do you drop fat, or how do you lose weight? It always starts with like conversation of nutrition, and it just, the quick fix always shows me that someone is not quite ready mentally for a long-term plan. You know, a long-term plan. So when you start to shift and ask the questions that are more long-term, that's when you can start to lay out an actual plan. But yeah, you're right that I mean, we want those quick things, and that's not how you get long-term results.
I'd say that's why people do turn to stuff like steroids, because they want to be the biggest guy in the room in the shortest period of time. But it's also not sustainable, because if you stop working out, the water, it's basically water, it starts to, you know, ruin your body. And I think I've been offered steroids before. I know friends who take steroids, and I don't judge them for it. It's their choice, and it's my journey is, I might be this size now, but if I carry on going naturally, 3 or 4 years time, you'll be where you'll be better. It's just I'd rather go the longer road. It's more sustainable.
Yeah, you know, you're 100% right. So I know some people that they would literally rather die huge than live, you know, a common life, and that is truly what drives them. Who is anybody to say that you're wrong for that? You know, I mean, do you? It's totally fine. I'm in healthcare, so I know what those drugs do to your body, and I just can't get past that part of knowing that, you know, your heart's going to be enlarged, and eventually you're going to have, you know, possible heart failure and liver issues and kidneys and all that, and it's just, you know, that's a price I'm not willing to pay for size.
I mean, in terms of like loosening and being loose with your nutrition, what's your opinion on cheat meals, cheat days? Obviously not cheat days, but you know, the conception of cheat days.
Flexible nutrition, that's 1,000% what I abide by, and that's what I go through with my clients. I don't train anybody for shows. That's just not how I am. What is long term? What can you do long term? And I know that I'm not just gonna stop eating a cookie. I know that I'm not gonna never have another piece of cake ever in my life. So why would I structure my life around stopping it right now? It doesn't make any sense. Why not take 80% of the food that you eat as clean, healthy, superfood, whatever the hell you want to say, it's the food that you should be eating, and then take 20% of the rest of that and be like, I'm going to eat pretty much what I want. You know, if you fit that into your life, you know, it's just like we talked about the routine. If you fit these things into your life, you can have abs year round. You know, you can have abs year round.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, for me, again, it's the 80-20 split. Monday to Sunday, I'll eat clean. The Saturday, I'll maybe have a meal that's not within my macros now and again. It's just a little bit of a treat. It's to keep you on the wagon sort of thing. It's to keep you going.
Yeah. So there's so many ways to do, you know, the treat meal, the cheat meal. And when I started out, it was 6 days a week, hardcore, holy crap, clean food, get the bad food out of my eyesight. And then 1 day a week, I would blow it out of the water. With that fitness maturity came the ability to know, all right, that 7th day, I'll just have one meal that's outside of what I should be eating. I shifted at one point to going to, you know, 2 days on, I was super clean, and then I'd have 1 day where I was just moderately had a little bit. Now it's, after 11 years, I very much have the mental fortitude to be like, you know what, I know that I can afford that today. I can do that. So I really don't have set days any longer that's like, this is a treat or a treat meal, or this is a treat day. And again, that comes with time, just time and being around it.
As I'm currently running out of topics because we've nearly covered everything, what are your goals going forward for your channel and business? Say maybe in the next 12 months, if that's a realistic time span.
Yeah, it is. It's benefiting others through not just the content, but through the training aspect, the business itself. I want to be in the dirt with these people. I want to be in the trenches with them, making those changes rather than just talking about it on content. And so that's what a lot of what this year will be, is the business side of it, and attaining more clients, more for the impact, and sure, to push the business and all that. But I want to get in the dirt with these people. I want to impact them physically, mentally, and really work.
rather than over a screen or a mobile device? You'd rather face to face sort of thing?
No. So everything I do is online.
Oh, okay.
All the training is online. I guess when I say not just a screen is, you know, not just putting out a YouTube video talking about this. Like, I want to work with people, and that is the focus of impacting people through the training portion, through the mental fitness.
So the final question, I like to shift the mood a little bit. A random question might catch you off guard.
Love it.
What's your favorite protein shake flavor?
Flavor or company?
Flavor.
I always like a classic chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I like. It's like the safe bet almost. You know, it's like cookies and cream is so easy to screw up. You know.
Do you use milk or water?
Both. It's so funny. I go through like these weird phases where I will take supplements, and then other phases where I don't. I'm currently in a phase where I'm not taking it, but I've gone like 3 years without, you know, doing protein powders and whatnot. But usually I'll lean on chocolate. Yeah.
I think mine's banana. I do 200 milliliters of milk.
What? Banana?
Yeah. Do you not do banana in the US?
You are so brave. That is such a flavor that's so easily screwed up. Who the hell? What supplement company do you get it through that tastes good?
My Protein.
Banana. Yeah, my protein's great. Banana is such an easily screwed up flavor for me.
There's banana and banana cream, which is great.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're looking for any banana, this is not sponsored, but if you're looking for banana flavored protein, my protein's the way to go. Yeah, I tend to use 200 milliliters of milk and rest water. Try and lower down the calories sort of thing. But yeah, Matt, it's been a complete pleasure speaking to you. I know you're a busy dude, and I know you've got plans ahead for the day, so I appreciate your time.
You know what? I can't thank you enough. Seriously, I appreciate you thinking of me and having me on, and I saw you. And I reached out to you because I felt something through the screen, through your words. And, you know, the first time we communicated, it was like, let's hop on a Zoom call. And I could just feel it in your words, dude. I could feel the passion in you. And, you know, there's something about you that is very driven. And I know you don't have all the answers yet. And that's good. That's good that you don't have the answers, you know, because you can find them. And I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. I support what you're doing. You know, I'm always here for you. Please hit me up at any point. And I'm just happy for you. Keep going.
Thanks, man. I mean, likewise. Need anything from me, dude? For what you've done for me today. I'm always here. I'm always here. So I'll link Matt's channel in the description. I'll link Holden's channel in the description too. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to Matt, and I'll see you later.
Later, y'all. Thanks for having me.
Summertime, California sunset on my mind. Feeling too high for my state of mind. It's a paradise I'm lost in a skyline.